The lights inside the legendary Saitama Super Arena burned bright as thousands of fans filled the stadium with anticipation. Cameras flashed, music echoed through the massive venue, and a wave of excitement rolled through the crowd. This was the Rizin Fighting World Grand Prix 2016, a tournament built to find the most dangerous heavyweight on the planet. Inside the ring, two very different warriors prepared for battle. On one side stood Heath Herring, the battle-tested veteran known as the Texas Crazy Horse. For years, Herring had fought the best heavyweights in the world. He had survived wars, endured brutal knockouts, and built a reputation as a man who simply refused to quit. Experience was his greatest weapon. Across from him stood a completely different threat. Amir Aliakbari, a former Greco-Roman wrestling world champion, possessed frightening physical strength and explosive power. In his short MMA career, opponents had been tossed, slammed, and overwhelmed by his relentless wrestling pressure. Tonight was another chance to prove that his dominance could carry him through the tournament. The stakes were enormous. Only 2 rounds of 5 minutes would decide the fight. If the judges couldn't determine a winner, an extra round would settle the war. Knees and kicks to a downed opponent were legal, making the fight even more dangerous. As the fighters stepped toward the center of the ring, the tension inside the arena became almost unbearable. Fans leaned forward. Commentators lowered their voices. Everyone knew what was coming. Would the veterans' experience overcome raw power? Or would the unstoppable wrestling force crush another opponent? The referees signaled for the fight to begin. The bell rang. And within seconds, the calm atmosphere exploded into chaos as the heavyweight collision finally began. The opening exchange lasted only seconds before the fight erupted into violence. Amir Aliakbari stepped forward and unleashed a thunderous right hand that crashed into Heath Herring. The impact sent shockwaves through the crowd as the veteran staggered backward, instantly realizing the danger he was in. Aliakbari didn't hesitate. Closing the distance like a charging bull, the powerful wrestler wrapped his arms around Herring and lifted the heavyweight off the ground with shocking ease. In one explosive motion, he launched him into the air and slammed him violently onto the canvas. The Saitama Super Arena gasped. It looked like a heavyweight ragdoll had just been thrown across the ring. Aliakbari immediately followed him to the ground, applying crushing pressure as he began unloading brutal punches. Hammer fists rained down with frightening force, each strike echoing through the arena. Herring tried to move, tried to escape, but the wrestler's control was suffocating. Aliakbari shifted his position, trapping one of Herring's arms and locking him into the crucifix position, one of the most dangerous positions in combat sports. With Herring helpless beneath him, Aliakbari began dropping powerful hammer fists onto the side of his head. The punishment was relentless. Blood appeared on Herring's forehead as the veteran struggled to survive. Every time he attempted to stand, Aliakbari dragged him back to the canvas like a predator refusing to release its prey. For nearly the entire round, the story remained the same. Pressure, control, punishment. The crowd watched in disbelief as Aliakbari dominated the veteran with raw power and elite wrestling skill. Yet somehow, despite the brutal assault, Heath Herring refused to break. And when the bell finally rang to end the first round, the battered veteran was still standing. As the fighters returned to their corners, the difference between them was obvious. Amir Aliakbari had dominated the opening round with brutal control and devastating ground strikes. But for the first time in his young career, fatigue had begun to show. His breathing grew heavy as he sat on his stool, the energy from his explosive attack slowly fading. Across the ring, Heath Herring looked battered but determined. The veteran had survived the storm. Now he needed a miracle. When the second round began, Herring came forward with renewed urgency. He understood that the only way to win was to push the pace and force Aliakbari into a striking battle. A sharp knee to the body landed. The crowd reacted immediately. Moments later, another knee connected as Herring started finding his rhythm. For the first time in the fight, Aliakbari began to look tired, his movements slower than before. But the wrestler still had power. He drove forward again, securing another takedown and forcing Herring back onto the canvas. Even exhausted, Aliakbari continued applying relentless pressure. Still, the momentum had changed. As the seconds ticked away, Herring fought back with everything he had left. Punches, knees, and kicks began landing as the veteran tried desperately to steal the round. The crowd inside Saitama erupted with excitement. 30 seconds remained. Both heavyweights were exhausted, swinging with whatever strength they had left. It was a chaotic exchange between two warriors refusing to surrender. Finally, the bell rang. After 2 brutal rounds, the judges made their decision. Unanimous decision. Amir Aliakbari. The powerful wrestler advanced in the tournament, but the fight had taken its toll. And while Aliakbari moved forward, Heath Herring reminded the world that legends are not defined by victories alone, but by the heart they show when everything seems lost.